Hello, this is Alma for Managerial Coaching Certificate, and I'm here with Marie. We're gonna do a little coaching session. So, Marie, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so you do realize that this is being recorded. I will upload this to YouTube. Do you mind if I take some notes?
Not at all.
Perfect. Right. So, how's your day going?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty good?
Having a good day.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And how is your week looking?
I think pretty busy still because there's a lot of things coming together, I guess, in my life schedule. But still very exciting stuff. So it's looking like a busy week, I think.
Is there something in particular that stands out?
Actually, I'm together with you working on the Hult Prize, which is a very big part of just regular daily life, I think, from now on for the next years of my life, hopefully. But yeah, so I think now our whole team is together for a little bit, so it's just a lot of meetings and just trying to get stuff done before going to an accelerator in Ashridge during the summer. So it's just a lot of prep work that is
Cool. So, do you remember the whole DNA that we did at the beginning of Module A?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember
Vaguely.
any particular goals that you were kind of focusing on?
Yeah, for sure. Something that I really wanted to focus on was being more outspoken, because I tended to be more an introvert and shyer, and I used to take more of a back seat in group class discussions, not necessarily in projects, but more in the class discussion. So that's definitely something that I wanted to work on more. And also, I tend to be in group works. I tend to maybe try and take over the conversation there, which is funny how contrasting it is. Mm-hmm. But to try and take more of a backseat in that situation and try and incorporate everyone more. Mm-hmm. So I think those were my two main goals for during Hult, for sure.
Okay, interesting. So if we're thinking about this week in particular, do you think you could somehow apply this to your work?
I think for sure, because we're having more of these group discussions within our team for Silver Legacy, so for our Hult Prize project, where from the beginning we've kind of seen a few people as the core to the team, and some people were added later, and I think to get them more to the core as well and get them leveled, I really have to manage myself with trying not to be too overwhelming, even though I have a strong opinion, and I feel I'm when I have that, I want to share it, but sometimes people are more reserved and shy in these kind of situations. And it's funny because in the beginning I didn't want to overtake, I couldn't overtake these bigger group discussions, and now I feel I've turned into a person who is more taking over these group discussions. So it's funny how now I have to backtrack myself a little bit, I've overdone it maybe. Mm-hmm. So definitely something that I'm trying to pay attention to more. I don't know if I'm succeeding, but definitely something I'm more aware of.
So if you would have to make a goal for this week to prioritize on, what would that be?
Probably to have one of the extended team members lead the conversation and try not to share every opinion I have in the group. Mm-hmm. That there's that you can actively see that they're leading more rather than me trying to, or steer the conversation. So that's something.
And why would you say this is important to you?
Because it's a team that we'll have to work with for a very long time going forward, and if we want to get everyone on the same level, mm-hmm. That's something very important, and something that that frustrates me easily is equal contribution. But in order for them to be able to contribute equally, I have to also let them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a important thing.
And if you think about, okay, so if I had to summarize what you're saying here, is that at the end of the week, if I would ask you, has somebody from your team, from the extended team, led a discussion, you would say that you had successfully reached your goal. Okay.
Yes.
So if you think about the situation today, how would you describe it in regards to this goal?
I guess I'm not successful at it today.
Okay.
but
could you elaborate on that?
I think whenever we're talking, so this is very specific to my situation now, but whenever we're talking to an external person and like explaining what it is we're doing, I still see that they're like looking at me for certain like information, like, oh yeah, Marie, what was that fact again? You know, like, and that like once they ask me that, I'm like, okay, they don't really feel comfortable talking about it, so then I take over the conversation again. Like that's what I noticed that today I did. And on one hand, like I feel confident that we communicated the idea well, but at the same time, like I completely didn't like succeed in reaching this goal of like trying to get them on the same level, because maybe like going through that process of kind of struggling to explain it is what they need to realize like where their gaps are and where they might like need some more learning to get to that same level. And I guess like you sometimes just need to fail before you can like do better. So I guess like letting them do that without me interfering is probably something like that. Going forward is something.
Do you think you have any more tools that you can sort of use to?
When you say tools, exactly.
Like, are there anything like? Is there anything more that you can maybe do to make sure that like you initiate this change, or that?
Something that we've been talking about in the team is doing pitching sessions. Something that we haven't this far incorporated, but I think in the next 3 days, I think it's very important for one of the extended team members to like try and do that, because I think like they're genuinely interested in doing this as well, and just giving them the opportunity that like the table is theirs all the way and like no one will interfere, like giving them that confidence. So I think that's something, definitely like a tool that we can use to improve that situation, I guess. And it also forces me to be quiet. So
okay. And is there like in which ways could your other team members maybe support you in this mission?
I think it's similar to what I would be doing as well, as just taking like more of a backseat role, I guess. Like not backseat, but just letting the other team members like I guess express their opinions, because I feel like myself and maybe some other team members are more outspoken about their opinions, and like I think that's definitely usually an advantage that you can express it, but at the same time I guess giving like that room that we sometimes let the conversation go quiet, so that the people who don't feel as comfortable speaking, that they can then contribute, rather than like keeping the conversation always going, and there's like it's very hard to get something in between. Maybe that's something we can
Can you think about like, or are there incidences where you have been successful in doing this?
Actually, in my module A class, I think that really proved very successful. Like, originally it was a group that I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to work well with, but over time I think we just got a lot better at like listening to people, like through conflict as well. Like there was conflict, unresolved, it was brought up in conversations, how people felt, and because of like sharing all of this information, we became more aware of other people's like triggers or like feelings that they were having, like more related to their personal
Okay, so how confident are you in your abilities to make this goal come to reality this week?
Maybe like a solid 70%.
70%.
I don't want
That's
to go.
pretty good.
Maybe 60. I don't know.
And what could you possibly do to get that 72?
Probably if I shared this goal in the group, it would give more. Like there would be more people checking on me actually like reaching this goal, and if I was completely not at all reaching it, they would probably speak out to me about it or like remind me of this goal that I had. I think there's definitely one thing to share. Sort of daily reminders.
Yeah.
Probably like write it on my hand or like make it the screensaver on my computer that I need to shut off. That might help. No, I'm probably having like conversations with these individuals, like maybe more like reserved, and like having more of like private conversations about certain topics as well. That might be useful as well to get their like feedback out, because sometimes it's not necessarily something that I'm doing. It might also just be part of their like personality or like how they are, what they're used to doing. So getting that out more in like a private session, that will, I think, has proven successful when we tried to do that like more one-to-one conversation. I was getting a lot more like feedback from them, so it might just also be like altering to their personal like personality essentially.
Perfect. Okay, so if I'm understanding this situation correctly, you have this goal that you want to reach, which is to kind of empower your team members to be more outspoken and maybe like take a little bit of a step back in order for this to happen. And from the current reality, you're maybe the more outspoken one in opposed to them. The tools that you could use for this are to for example, encourage them to run these pitch rounds with them and to like have your team members keep you accountable and measure these goals. And you're fairly confident that you can reach this.
Maybe
goal.
Overly confident. Maybe
I mean,
that's
1 week
why
is a
we're
short time, so I mean.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you.
Good.
Yes, very nice.
Right? Hello, cool little tool.
This is Cristina providing feedback for Alma Dóra's coaching session with Marie. To begin with, Alma Dóra started with a question that was a connecting question about how is your day and your week, good opening, to which Marie mentioned that there are a lot of things coming together and they are very busy with their Hult Prize project. Alma Dóra switched into a question that was closed-ended, if there is anything in particular that comes out from that. And nevertheless, Marie responded, yeah, there is a regular occurrence that we have meetings every day, and that's due to the accelerator in summer for the Hult Prize. So Alma Dóra asked another pretty closed-ended question about the whole DNA, if Marie remembers it, to which she responded vaguely. Any particular goals that Marie would like to share? That was another almost closed-ended question because Marie could have said no. Nevertheless, she responded that she wanted to switch from being introverted in the class to being more extroverted in the class and more let other people in the group, in group setting, where she used to take over the conversation, let others also speak to a higher degree than her. And anything about this week? Alma Dóra asked if there is any particular goal that Marie wanted to have, like a desired result. So that's a good question because it leads us into finding the goal for the week. To which Marie said that they wanted more group discussions for the Hult Prize. They want to have new people come into the team, and she wants to let those people speak up because she's the one speaking a lot in group setting. So she's trying to pay attention to what she's doing. That's her goal. Alma Dóra answered, actually it was another goal-related question, any prioritizing goals for the week. And Marie said that she wants to include the team members in the conversation, and again, she's has to hold on from steering the conversation to the way she wanted, and she was doing so far. Alma Dóra asked a great question at this point, which was on impact. It was on why, like why does she want to do this? And this obviously makes Marie think more about that, and about she answered that because she wants to work with them for a long time, and she wants them to contribute equally, and she wants to help that happening. And at this point, Alma Dóra summarized, and then she said a shift has happened, but what is the situation today. So she brought back through this question the focus on reality, to which Marie said she's not successful today, but she thinks that she wants to look at better communicating to see what an external person thinks about the idea of the business, and she wants to let the team members be able to pitch that business to them, the business idea, not only her doing that. Alma Dóra said, any tools that you may use, which is an option question, but at the same time it may be a little bit technical for someone that may not be used to using tools, and or use that word, to which Marie said, what do you mean by that? Nevertheless, she figured it out, and she said, well, pitching sessions would help, because it gives them the confidence to be speaking up more to these people who are shy. Another closed-ended question that Alma asked was, if anything your team can do. Another question instead of this, because this is a closed question, it could be a yes or a no question, would be, are there people who may help with your challenge? Maybe people who have had similar experiences before in the team. Marie responded that the people that can express their opinions, even though they are not comfortable speaking, it makes her feel weird because there is a quiet moment. So this part is probably Marie explaining why she's speaking sometimes more to cover the gaps. Alma Dóra said, have you ever been asked if, that's another pretty close question again, because she asked, have you ever been successful in doing this? A better question, in my opinion, it would be, if you have ever encountered similar situation before, how do you remember dealing with it? It's more of a optionality of like, that makes the other person think that there is an option, even if they have not got the exact situation in the past. They could actually find similar things that they could respond the question with. And nevertheless, even if it was a closing question, Marie seems to know Alma pretty well, and she responded that in Mod A, there was a group that got along better over time, even they had conflict. They shared information and they became more aware of their feelings, and they broke through it. Alma asked another closed question again on how confident are you to reach your goals. Not necessarily closed, but it's like it can be again not at all. So it can be a binary response, to which Marie said 70-60%, and to that Alma Dóra asked, again, what could you do to improve it? Is an option question. It could have been also a better question to ask before, instead of how confident are you to reaching that goal, how could you improve the situation? It's a very good question. So Marie responded to that sharing the goal in a group and others will hold her accountable of when she's trying to take over the conversation, or have a daily reminder or screensaver, other options. Until then, also she wants to do like a one-on-one discussions where these shyer people, they can give her feedback directly in a private session. At this point, Alma summarized on the goal to empower team members to be more outspoken, take a stand back, from Marie to take a stand back and allow this to happen. So she summarized it, but what we've learned is try to use more the aid, which should include, like, let's say, when you said that you wanted to let other people talk more, it made me think that you actually want to empower your team to take a bigger responsibility and actually help you achieve your goal, your team goals. So it's a very admirable goal to have. It made me think that you want your team members to be successful. So this type of aid feedback, and also give a suggestion that is not leading, something like my suggestion is to have that check for yourself on a reminder of when she's getting very excited and taking over the conversation. Slow it down and have a check-in, and as just a suggestion, and see when it happens. So yeah, overall a great conversation because of the outcome, and it's always a good and positive discussion. I hope it helps. Thank you.